Welcome back to the channel. Alright guys, I got a good one for you today. Got my notes, my notey poos. Are you ready for this? I don't know if you're ready for this one. And I wasn't even ready for this one. I was spitballing with my partner, my boyfriend last night over dinner. We had dinner outside on the deck. And I'm spitballing with him. And I'm like, what do you think it is? Like the biggest killer of self-worth. Are you ready for his answer? Overindulgence. And I sat and I thought for a second. I applied that term to my brain and to self-worth. And I understood. Because when we overindulge, we don't push ourselves to accomplish, to create, to motivate. And if we're not accomplishing or overcoming things, where are you getting your self-worth from? Are you supposed to just feel good about yourself? And right, but what is it that makes you feel good about yourself? Turn the music down. What is it that makes you feel good about yourself? Is it the fact that you like your hair, you like the way you dress? But is that really self-worth? Or is that just self-acceptance of appearance? Because when you overindulge, meaning, okay, let me break it down because I put it into examples. If you've got 1,000 things on the back burner that really should be on the front burner, and you choose to do this with your time, other than approach and accomplish the shit that's now on fire, you're not going to gain any self-worth. You're going to feel shitty about yourself. You're going to look around your place and you're going to be like, wow, this is a reflection of me. Yeah, it is. No, it's not just a messy place. It's not just disorganization. It's not just, no, that's how you feel about yourself. They are correlated. They are connected. Upon accomplishing and overcoming, we release the reward chemical dopamine. So if you're not releasing the reward chemical dopamine, you're not feeling so great. You're not feeling so happy. You're not feeling accomplished. So what we think is like a break, or I'm not sure. It's not. It's not. Because I used to have this mentality too, where it's like, oh, but I work so hard and I deserve to just come home and not do anything. Sure, I guess. But wouldn't you rather be the person that deserves a clean home, deserves clean dishes, deserves food in the fridge? And we get confused because we're burnt out and we're tired, but we need to now look at, why are you burnt out and tired? Where are you putting all of your priority to? Because you're putting too much priority in one realm and not equally distributing. And that blew my mind thinking about it, because I remember that time in my life where I overindulged and I had no self-worth. I didn't recognize the correlation of overcoming and accomplishment to how I feel with my confidence and my personal power, your solar plexus chakra. I always thought it was just well, as long as you're a good person and you enjoy who you are and accept yourself authentically, it doesn't matter. You're not releasing the brain chemical dopamine and you're not proud of yourself. Looking around your life and considering a lot of these aspects that are failing or dying in your life, oh, that's just how I am. I can't help it. Then you need medical attention, because that means there's something you can't help it. That's an issue, right? Because what do we talk about all the time? Empowerment, stepping into your power. So the second that you admit to yourself, I have no control over my own self, you take that personal power, you crumple it into a ball, and you Kobe it into the trash. That's what you're doing. Anytime you say, I have no control, this is who I am, this is just how it is, and then you want people to respect you and move aside when you walk into a room and pick up on the confidence that you think you have, but you don't. Because in the back of your mind, you're considering yourself broken. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't control that. I'm just a victim of circumstance. Of course you'd have no self-worth with that. That's exactly how we feel with sexual assault, right? I couldn't control it. My bodily autonomy was taken away from me. And that self-worth gets thrown out the window. So why would we repeat that? But as our own predators, now we've become the procrastination predator. How do you take your life back? You gain that empowerment. How do you gain that empowerment? You step into it, meaning you got to do some movement. You got to do some work. It's not about us, like how the viewer sees you. It's a feeling. And you can walk around with your chin so high up that you can't even see the ground, and yet still fall short on empowerment and self-worth. And then that's when you see a lot of people who have a huge confidence and a real passive-aggressive undertone of competitiveness and things like that. That is a solar plexus block. That is not true confidence. That is the ego. True confidence is built every day. You don't just build it one day and then you're like, I'm confident forever. No, every day you need to prove to yourself that you can get out of your own way and overcome your obstacles and challenges. Every day. Every time you think, I don't wanna, you go do the thing. I don't want to. No, I deserve to. I get to. This is a blessing because every time you accomplish something from the list of I don't wanna, you release the dopamine, you release the reward chemical, you start to gain a momentum, and now all you want is more things to accomplish and overcome and more obstacles because you see how it's a feeding tube right to your personal power. And we feel shameful in the back of our minds when we are falling short, when we are standing in our own way. And then we try to come up with these validations to validate staying stuck. But who are you trying to convince? Because it's not about the person observing you. It's about your inner world. And what does your inner world feel like right now? So I ask this question because I wonder sometimes, when I started to figure that out, that when you let go of shitty habits, like addiction and shitty attachments and things like that, when you let go of those things, you gain empowerment. But then it stagnates because that's just step one. Step two, how do you cultivate this power? Maintenance. By overcoming daily. Overcoming. Before it was getting rid of. Now it's overcoming because you've gotten rid of everything holding you back. So what's left? You. So don't teach yourself that you're inept. Show up for yourself. Have that higher self remind that lower self. It's for us, bro. It's for our growth, our personal power. Because you get easily annoyed, you get frustrated, you get competitive, you start getting a little passive aggressive. All these things are direct correlations to an imbalanced solar plexus chakra, which is your personal power center. And so when I'm approached by somebody who has these tendencies, my first thought isn't, don't talk to me like that. That's not actually the first thought. That's what I think after. And I'm like, wait, I don't deserve that. Because first I think, what happened to this person? And what are they doing or not doing in their life that their confidence and personal power is suffering? Because if it wasn't, you wouldn't feel the need to overcompensate a conversation or to condescend another human being, or you wouldn't feel the need to slide a tone or a passive aggressive situation into a conversation. You would just say, oh, hey, I just noticed something here. It kind of made me feel a little weird. Did you mean this by that? Or like, that is confidence, you know? And I always confuse that because like insecurity, in my mind, before I experienced it myself, insecurity always seemed like the fawn, the timid, the in the corner. But that's not always it. The most insecure people are the one who are loud about it. And that was me. I was very loud about it. Passive aggressive, just take a number. You want a passive aggressive sentence next? You got it. Like, I didn't even hear that in my own tone of voice. That's the thing, because when you have insecurities, a lack of self-worth, you don't hear yourself because you're embodying emotion. You're not standing in your authentic form, detached as the observer that you are. You're wrapped up in worthlessness, and so we get louder to overcompensate, or we try to prove other people wrong, or we try to start arguments or debates or drama. That's all linked back to the solar plexus. How do you heal that solar plexus? Do the shit your brain tells you, I don't wanna. Do it. And that doesn't always look like accomplishing like stagnated tasks. That is a big part of it. But also it means listening to those inner whispers and knowing when it's time to accomplish something else, you know, a step up, maybe add to your morning routine, a workout or whatever. You are continuously stepping up the ladder of growth. That's what's going to feed your solar plexus chakra, your personal power, and your will. This does not mean hustle culture. I mean, for instance, I feel super good today. Personally, I woke up, ate breakfast, did a workout, stretched my whole body, took a shower, did more stretches. I prayed, I did my affirmations, I did a gratitude practice, and then I talked to my dad on the phone, and then I accomplished, because lists are important, I accomplished a bunch off my list already. I needed to make. I made deodorant, tinted lip balm, rose lip balm, some jasmine shimmers, you know, like, and then here's the other thing, recognizing when to say, that's enough. That's what I did just about 40 minutes ago. I was like, that's enough. It's enough accomplishing for the day. Because there's a fine line between hustle culture and dopamine release of accomplishment. Hustle culture brings you down to another avenue of burnout and drain and lack of energy and expenditure. When you are in touch with your authentic nature and you're really in tune with how every action plays into your being of self, then you start to go, yeah, I don't need to work until I get pissed off. I don't need to keep working until I hurt myself. I don't need to maintain this project until I'm pissed, tired, and crying. I have thousands of other things that I wanted to get done today. So let's stop now, clean the whole counter up, get it all put away, make it look like it did this morning before I started, eat some lunch, and move on to the next accomplishing. You know, and I feel like I also struggled with that for a very long time, where I couldn't feel accomplished until the entirety of the list was checked off. But then by that time happened, I couldn't even enjoy the accomplishment because I'm having an anxiety attack and I gotta go lay down. So, balance. It's a fine line between overdoing and overindulgence. The two killers of self-empowerment, of self-confidence, of self-willpower. There's always a duel for everything, man. You got overindulgence is bad and over accomplishing is also bad. We need to meet in the middle. Know thyself. Oh, am I starting to feel a little irritated? All right, switch tasks. There's no reason to drive yourself into the ground and hate yourself and hate life. Like, it's just tasks. It's just stuff. I got a big selling event on Saturday, and I love it. I love this. It took me like 5 years to cultivate this mentality about events. But I'm like, if it ain't made by Thursday, it ain't coming to the event. Like, I love that. Because what used to happen was I'd be up till 10:30 at night on a Friday still making stuff, let alone having the car packed and all of my products put away neatly and orderly so I remember where they are. And now we're at a point where it don't matter. Doesn't matter. You get what you can done. You check off the reward boxes. You don't have an ultimatum of I'm not going to feel successful unless. No, you're successful because you checked off a lot of your list. Like, you did the best you could before Friday, and that's beautiful. Now we're going to take a break because then I'm going to spend Friday packing lunch for Saturday, getting snacks ready, getting a cooler filled up with some ice, getting my tables and the chairs are in the tent already packed up in the car. And then in the morning, all I have to do is take my little product boxes out and then we go. And I'm talking about this because I'm trying to show the evolution of the over one way and the over the other. This is the middle ground where you're honoring thyself, yet also accomplishing for thyself, but not overly so that you're snuffing out self. And now I feel like a happier person. I'm more relaxed. I'm not crying and stressed and getting fever blisters. Oh my gosh, guys. There was a year of events where that would just happen every time. And that was my flag of awareness that I'm not doing something right because it's affecting my personal power. And in turn, it's cultivating itself physically because there's energy in my system. Like, I'm not doing well. And I made a promise to myself that that's not going to happen anymore. It's not, oh, we're going to push through. You're gonna get used to it. You're gonna adapt to survive. Like, no, bro, I can still be a successful entrepreneur and not make myself sick. Those two things go really well together, actually. But being who I was, of an overindulgent person, I swung way far to the other end, almost to prove to myself, that lack of worth I had from years of overindulgence. I was trying to prove to myself, like, I can change, I can transmute and take that energy that I spent overindulging and I can funnel it into overcoming and accomplishing. And so I went way off the cliff that end, though, and it brought me to the same symptoms mentally and physically as the overindulgence. So now, year whatever, we're now in the middle. We're not one way or the other. We're middle ground. We accomplish so that we release those brain chemicals, but then we stop when we recognize knowing ourselves, and this is time to switch gears. We go to the next topic. Like, also preparing weeks in advance. I don't have anything else going on. There's no other distractions in my life. There's no drama. There's just not a lot. Everything's nicely. So I can start doing this 2 weeks ago. I'm not distracted with things. And that's another thing we get with overindulgence. We get distractions because we don't recognize that that's what that is. Overindulgence is just a distraction from accomplishing. And we're doing ourselves an injustice. Because if you just did the I don't wanna, if you just did it, you would be that much closer to alignment of your true worth and power. Because you're not a victim of circumstance. You're not. That's not how you were created. That's not what you were meant for. You were meant to overcome. You, child of God, you were an overcomer. Like, that's why, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, we're built to do that. Why? Because I personally believe it's because of that whole evolution of growth for the entirety of humanity. How else do you evolve if you don't overcome challenges? Like, so as a species, how do we evolve if there's no challenge? We wouldn't. But are we really that naive to say that we don't need more evolution? What if human beings having an extra, I don't know, finger or whatever, or what I consider the mental health aspect of things, the rewiring of our brains to a neurodivergent society. I don't know if anyone else is seeing that, but I'm seeing it. That's the route we need to go for evolution. How are we to say that that's not what we need? How the heck do you know? Can you see into the future? Do you know? Like, and if we don't overcome, we don't learn, and when we don't learn, we can't teach, and eventually we die out. That's the problem. I know. People are like, okay, the dishes in my sink doesn't mean the disevolution of an entire species, but it does. Because that should be nailed down by now. Like, we need to be pushing our brains outside of the box to be accomplishing other obstacles, bigger things, more important things to accomplish, like things that are gonna like change us as a species. Like, you can't change the species if you busy thinking about the dishes in your sink. And that's the thing, like, if you can't do it for yourself, then do it for the evolution of the species. We talked about that a plethora of videos ago. If you can't do it for yourself, until you find the will for yourself, do it for others. Best quote, I forget, it was like a nun who said this. Mother Teresa, ready? Okay. So you don't wash the dish because it's dirty. You don't wash the dish because you made it dirty. You wash the dish because you love the person who uses the dish next. You! It's you! That's why, because it's self-discipline is self-love. No, it is. Like, it is. And I pray for that every day, because every time I level up in my self-discipline, God gives me another blessing. Not until then, though. It's written in the Bible, pave the highway, prepare the land. And if I ain't got no preparations going on, why do I deserve the blessing? I'm not ready to house it. It's like going out and getting a giant dog and you live in a studio apartment. The hell are you doing? Right. Up the apartment game, get the yard for the Rottweiler. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. And that's what, when you surrender to the higher power, you don't make mistakes like that anymore. You don't get the Rottweiler in the studio apartment. Because instead you have the patience to recognize, I have to do some work to prepare the land for the blessing, to prepare the highway for my blessings to land upon. And you start thinking like that. And guess what? Guess what happens when you start thinking like that? You stop finding yourself in situations where you go, yes, I have no control. I can't do it. How do you prepare the highway first? And I know this sounds shitty, but I don't think people should be taking on more if we can't get out of our own way and accomplish those negotiable needs. Like, you got to stay here. Nail that in. You can't also be here, and here. Master this, then move on to that, master that, then move on to that, and that's how you build. Because when you jump like that, this falls short because you made this the new priority, and then this the new priority. No, just finish the first priority, nail it in, don't have those habits anymore, don't have whatever that is that's holding you back from overcoming, free yourself from that prison, and then allow the next thing to reveal itself to you, because you don't know best right now. Your self-worth is tanked. So you doing all this, and this is coming from a root of worthlessness. So you're just creating more shit in your life that you're going to have to go and recreate later. So take your time, pause, have some patience, breathe. The finish line is death. Chill. You got all the time. Like, just work on yourself. Master the one, move to the next. Granted, do I still have an issue with once a week I get a little pile of clothes from the laundry, like we do laundry, and then I get a little pile of folded laundry and I put it on my dresser. And that lingers. It does. I'm not telling you it doesn't. It does. But that is an evolution from every day just discarding my clothes in a heaping pile on my dresser. I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's a disservice to me. When I wake up in the morning, I can't find shit and I gotta go deal with the pile, or where the first thing I see when I open my eyes in the morning is a freaking pile of crap. Starts your day off already feeling worthless. Like, wow, I can't even put my clothes away. Right. You don't need that. You don't need more problems. You don't need more challenges and obstacles in your mind. Get rid of that shit. So I made it an effort. I'm like, we're not doing that anymore. And so once I cleared it all off, we made the dresser a zone. Now it's a zone for me putting my leave-in conditioner in and putting my contacts in. Like, I put a little thing down there. So now this is the new energy for this dresser. I'll allow one little pile of laundry that's folded, and then my little girly station, whatever. And that was enough of an accomplishment for now for me to feel empowered. Like, because every morning now when I wake up and look at that dresser, I'm like, F yes. Look at me go. Now, what's the next thing? Is it the little pile? Or maybe it's another thing. Maybe there's another thing that's on an equal level of the shitty heaping pile, and I need to get that on the same level as the folded pile. And then you go around your life and you do that, and you balance everything and you figure it out. And then you eat lunch, like, because that's still also highly important. It's not overwhelming. It's really not. It's not. It's like our perception to it is overwhelming, our perspective, because we also don't know that truth that you could just set a timer for 20 minutes and then not do any more for the rest of the day. But just getting that 20 minutes in is freaking mind-blowing. How much is 15, 20 minutes out of your day? Like, for real, how detrimental is that 20 minutes that you can't funnel it into self-growth? I mean, your life only gets better, so you might as well. It's 20 minutes. Don't drive yourself into the ground. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't stricken yourself with anxiety. You walk away. You take breaks. It's fine. It's fine. And a lot of times what kind of holds us back from overcoming as well is the fact that once we do, who are we? We will be stepping into a new identity. And for those of us who struggle with, who've had really severe trauma, that's a scary thing to do. Step into this new realm and this new empowerment of a way of being. We almost feel safe and hidden amongst our lack of accomplishment. You know, like not making any waves, no one could see me. And I don't think we realize that subconscious attachment to overcoming and that reciprocates into this idea of, who am I now? I was a victim for so long, maybe didn't even know it. You know, you had the suppressed emotion, a suppressed memory maybe, or just something that's bothering you for so long. And now it's coming to a forefront and you're making these recognitions of, oh my gosh, everything I've done in my life since that time, since that trauma, has been to survive that trauma. And now that you've survived for this bulk amount of years, you're looking around and you're like, oh no. It's like just one day you just gain that awareness. You're like, well, I survived. I did it. But what's next? And that's terrifying. I don't know. If you've been there, you know it's freaking terrifying. Like, I was both terrified and also excited because that meant like I can build whatever life I want now. Like it's a fresh slate. But terrified because I was like, how? All I've known is the trauma. All I've known is how to survive through unhealthy coping skills maybe, or whatever it is that led you to this opening awareness of, oh shit, I gotta get out of this. This is actually hurting and harming me more. It's a scary step. Who are you as an empowered person? Who are you confident and full of will? What does that look like? And I think that terrifies us in the beginning because we're so tired, we're so drained from that, hiding that trauma and all of that goes into it, that you're like, I mean, that sounds real nice, but like I kind of just want to take a nap. And you know what? You take the nap. And then you do a 10-minute timer and you accomplish 10 minutes worth of something. Just to start gaining that reward system back. Just to start gaining a little empowerment at a time. So you don't like blow yourself wide open and you feel really vulnerable and raw. Like just one little thing. And then you're like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. I did that. I didn't know I could, but like I did that. And you just do it small. Small. Especially when you're recognizing this new identity, like this person who's now stepping away from the victim and into this thriving way of life. You have to prove to yourself these things, and that's fine. Take it slow, but don't not take steps. We need to take steps. We do, because you're doing yourself an injustice, and I know that we don't know that sometimes, especially when you're dealing with CPTSD and trauma. Can be hard, but you start small. That's all. Like so minutely small. And I can't tell you how high of a platform of confidence it is to have your laundry, your dishes, and your house done, like cleaned. I don't know how to explain. And a shower, self-care, hair brushed, like. The things that we overlook when we're in the heat of it, when we're so overwhelmed and we're just so stressed, we overlook that it's a simple platform to get that one leg up. It doesn't have to be go learn how to fix a car right now. Like you don't have to go change someone's tire. That's ridiculous. But just like eat breakfast, brush your hair, take a shower, and make those an everyday routine until they become mastered. And then you can add on to, I also want to make sure my dishes are done every day. Okay. After, though, you master self-care. Yes, the dishes are a part of self-care, but when I'm talking, you need to feel and look good about yourself. That helps to move the ball, the momentum. So, and that needs to be done consistently. I don't know where it happened in our evolution of a species where we like don't put ourselves together anymore, but it's not for the acceptance of others. It's for the acceptance of self. To be proud of yourself. Look what I accomplished today. I got up and brushed my hair, took a shower, I stretched, whatever it is. I picked out a cute outfit. Like, don't you already feel better? You know, and it's like these small things that build up until all of a sudden you are learning how to change your own tire, or you are learning how to fix your own car, or do your own oil change. Like, that seems so out of grasp right now, but if you can maintain these everyday goals, It'll build the confidence you need to say, I can learn to change oil. Because you can. Like, you can do anything. You are capable of anything. You're just standing in your own way. Either unconsciously or consciously because you think you deserve a break or like you deserve to scroll or I don't know. Someone said that to me once. Like, they got really upset at me because I was like, shouldn't we be like doing something? Like, we were both working on something, like a task. And I was like, don't you want to like get that thing done? Like, cause like that's how I am. Like, I'm just like, don't you want that self-empowerment? Like, and this person turned to me and they got really upset, like emotional. When do I ever have time to scroll on TikTok? I never have time. And I was like, okay, I don't know if TikTok's really that important. But then again, who am I to judge if that's the priority of that person's life and they have to carve out time for TikTok? Then maybe I shouldn't be around that person if it's going to make me get anxious, because that's what it does. I get like anxiety. I'm like, wait, there's too much that we need to do. And I'm grateful, blessed even, that I had no internet or cell phone for the majority of my 20s. So I was just out there working, paying rent, paying my bills poorly, because I was also an addict and an alcoholic and struggling with really bad mental health. But that was the last thing on my mind. What's going on my phone? I didn't even think about that. Like, I have to like survive. So it's such a privilege for someone to say that like they don't have enough TikTok time. I'm like, okay, I don't understand that. That's just something I will never be able to relate to. Does that mean that that person's wrong and I'm right? No, it just means I'm in the wrong effing room. I'm just hanging out with the wrong crowd. And that's not saying anything bad to that person. Like, that's fine. I'm grateful that you had a privileged life up to this point that, that's your main priority. Yet it is going to play into lack of self-worth and low self-esteem and a blocked solar plexus chakra. So like, everything you decide has a consequence. It really does. Just like pick which one you want. You want a higher self-consequence or a lower self-consequence. It's always two. So, and that's another thing. It's not for us to say what's right for another person. Because like, to me, I feel like I kick ass every day. Like, I get all this stuff done. Meanwhile, like, it's not as much as, let's say, hustle boss queen babe. Like I carve out time for like tea time and a chapter of a book. Like, and that to me is like, hell yeah. Because that plays into my authenticity and it balances that over accomplishing or overindulgence and it brings me into the middle. And when you do that, that also feeds your personal power. Because you're like, look at me balancing. Look at me figuring out my needs and what the things I have to do, but then the things that I want to do. And I'm blending them together and I'm making a cohesive schedule for my day. Yes. Like, that is, yes. Does that say I don't scroll on TikTok? Sure. It's not a priority though. It's not my priority. Like, I go on there, I make a video, and I see what else is on there. I typically watch either something funny or something knowledgeable, because that's me. My brain is just like, give me the knowledge. Like, I just want to learn shit. I want to know how people think. I want to know how people perceive things. I want to know things. I want to bounce myself off of, like, the world. And because that helps you figure out your authentic self. I'm not just sitting there, like, watching goat videos all day, like... Not that I'm saying that matters either. Go ahead, watch your goat videos. I mean, I have a couple. The point is, it's just like, feed yourself what you need. Like, that's how you're going to overcome. And then with overcoming comes self-worth. So, what's your priority? What are the biggest important things in your life right now? Like, for me right now, it's maintaining the self-discipline needed to keep growing my life. I pray for that every morning. I thank God for the blessings I've already obtained. And I thank God for the life built to suit and fit me authentically, so that I feel comforted, I feel supported, I feel loved. But I also then pray for the self-discipline to expand my blessings, to expand my plate of manifestations to something that I can hold and balance and not be crushed under the weight of it. Because blessings also need self-discipline. Gifts also need self-discipline. Yeah, because you need to maintain them. And that's what I want in my life from now on, is the maintenance. I want the lower level of cement to dry completely before I build the next level. I'm not going to start digging out the cement before it's dry because I have a new idea and now I'm over here. No. Let's just let this settle. Build on the next thing. Build on the next thing. Because you don't know what you want if your foundation is liquid. I'm telling you that from personal experience. You don't know. So solidify your foundation and allow the next thing to be revealed to you, because you become a different person when you solidify the foundation. Just like wet cement to hard cement. Those are two different solid liquid. Like, that's what you become. So give yourself time, give yourself patience, get out of your own way. You can. Maybe you lack the structure, you lack the creative idea, you lack whatever it is, but guess what? With every lack means it's out there for you to learn and find. Someone has the tool. You know what I'm saying? You're not the first person to struggle with what you're struggling with. Like, there's answers. And if you don't want other people's answers, then keep messing around and finding out. But don't not try. Don't escapism into your phone or into going out, or just sit with it. Be uncomfy, because self-worth and self-empowerment is a skill. It's like a learned or a grown, something you got to work at. And it can be thrown out the window very easily too. That's why you have to keep with that constant self-maintenance. And it's a life changer. It literally changes your life, because you walk into a room and you're not seeking out the room to see how you should act. You're just you, confidently, securely. So just remember this. Overindulgence is a self-worth killer, and over-accomplishing is also a self-worth killer. Find the balance of the middle ground. Yeah. That was crazy to recognize. Overindulgence is literally every self-worth problem. You got to do hard stuff to know your capabilities. And if you don't do hard stuff, then what are you capable of? All right. Have a great day.